It has become painfully apparent to me that Americans simply do not have the heart. I've conquered America, especially California. I'll be going to another state soon to finish searching for anybody who might have the heart, you know, to try to prove they're the best. But now officially, it is time for me to extend my challenge around the world. I am the top martial artist in America, and they could not beat me even though they are covertly drugging me. Covertly drugged or not, I am ready to take on anyone in the world. So now my top martial arts challenge officially today on the 26th of February 2016 now extends to the entire world. Though it will be very difficult for me to say that I am the top martial artist in the world with a clear conscience, I'm still going to try to put my martial artist challenge out there. It's time to expand um, the territories in which my challenge includes to the entire globe. Anyone, anywhere in the world can accept my challenge. Though I will never say I'm the top martial artist in the world. But over 500,000 Americans, especially martial artists, mostly martial artists, are aware of my challenge. And especially the secret societies, the military, law enforcement, intelligence agencies, government workers, people who type of people who do psychological operations, their networks. They're very aware of my challenge, and so there you have it. So I'd like to be clear that I did not represent America in my challenge. America has shunned me. They have persecuted me for my political views. This is the most racist country in the world. Scientific racism, social Darwinism. These people betray their own races, and that's why most of them are here in the first place, because they didn't have the heart to stay with their own people. My father is an exception, one of the few exceptions, because he came here during a war in which he was separated from his tribe, and he didn't have much hope of rejoining his tribe. He was better off going to the airport. And my other two uncles fought in the Civil War. So I'm a very unique person for America. Most people here are from a long line of bootlickers, a long line of conformists. I'm from a long line of warriors, and even my dad's generation, him and his brothers were warriors. So, for me, it's like a warrior coming around a bunch of civilians. That's what it's like being America. Being a great warrior among a bunch of civilians and people who hide behind drone strikes who really don't know anything about martial arts or hand-to-hand combat and just like to pretend that they do. And a bunch of sissy white people who, with their little whitewashed dojos and their whitewashed perspectives of religion, and a bunch of international financiers who have sided with white people because they're the majority of the people in America. And Freemasonry started in England with a bunch of white people. And so, just to give you a little bit of background on myself and the nation I live in, America is full of cowards. And to get a good martial art match, I really need to look elsewhere. I need to look outside of America instead of within, because these people are pussies, let's face it, a bunch of sissies. I'm really looking toward China. I'm looking toward Africa. I'm looking toward South America, and trying to find people who are tough, people who are actually warriors, people who know about martial arts. You're not going to really find too many of those people in Europe. You're definitely not going to find too many of those people in America. And, all racism aside, all jokes aside, I'm sure we can all agree that when it comes to martial arts, this is something that's almost exclusively and entirely for Asians and blacks. Everyone else has some kind of whitewashed, hand-me-down version. And because of colonialism and neo-colonialism and international finance, it's probably going to be that way for a long time. So definitely my generation, yes, I'm looking outwards, for real warriors. I'm very saddened by what I see here. These people want to uphold white social norms at the cost of being a warrior, at the cost of being honest. They betray their own people, their religions, their traditions. I have no doubt in my mind that had white people, stuck to their ethnic cultural norms instead of this mainstream white cultural norms, it probably would have been different. There probably would have been some warriors out here it would have given me, a little bit of a contest. But because they grasped and they held on to this mainstream kind of universal Eurocentric, social norms, standard, and this universal Eurocentric culture that, you have a bunch of effeminate cowards, a bunch of gender feminists, a bunch of sissies, For example, you don't see any Vikings walking around this motherfucker. You don't see any gladiators or something like, in the old tradition. You see a bunch of whitewashed fucking sissies, right? A bunch of Greco-Roman washed without the gladiators. Imagine gay ass Rome or gay ass Greece without the warriors. That's pretty much what America is, except for a modern version of that. And then some of them, are these effeminate little sissies trying to pass off as martial artists, and it's disgusting to me. And you should see law enforcement, a bunch of queers and feminists, just like the military. I mean, there's so many stories out there, if you just Google it, of these pedophiles in the military raping little boys, and and their friends in Afghanistan raping little boys, and their allies. America and its allies are a bunch of pedophiles, queers, and feminists, and people in secret societies, who care about presentation. I mean, ask yourself, which sex cares about presentation more, and which sex cares about, being a tough guy, application. Logically, women care about form more. There's not too many women that care about being a cold heart, a violent warrior. They care about being a ballerina, right? Being a gymnast more, and then we see guys who do figure skating and guys who do, gymnastics and, ballet. They're a bunch of tight-wearing sissy queers, So the fact that I even had to highlight the difference between application and presentation shows you beyond any doubt that we are dealing with a bunch of sissies in America. These are a bunch of gay and gender feminist sissies. And you even have people that live in the South starting to act like gender feminists and gay sissies. And any people that would hold on to presentation. Oh, this guy can do all these cool moves. What can you do? Yeah, there's a lot of figure skaters who do a lot of stuff that I can't do, and nor would I want to be able to do them, because I'm concerned with application. I'm concerned with tough guy, masculine stuff. I know America's, for you Americans, I know you don't know what I'm talking about because masculine has been removed from your vocabulary and your understanding of things. But yes, I hold on to masculine traits and application, not presentation. Not this effeminate sissy. Oh, look at his form. Oh, look where his hands are. Oh, his butt isn't positioned right. And I said, what the fuck's wrong with you people, man? You bunch of sissies, man. This ain't ballet, motherfucker. This ain't figure skating, you pussy-ass motherfuckers. This is application. So push all that sissy shit, all this mainstream white nonsense to the side, okay? Just because you screened out all the warriors from your own culture and a bunch of Jews financed you to do it because they're a bunch of pedophiles and gays, frankly, look at their culture. I'm not racist against Jews, but let's face it. For whatever reason, there's a lot of money thrown into gay movements by Jewish groups, okay? And so, American culture is, if they're a warrior, put them in prison. And once you put them in prison, they really don't have a chance to compete with someone like me. Because what they're doing, they're getting big and strong and trying to intimidate each other. It goes back to presentation. Yes, they can fight. Yes, there's some more violent people. But at the end of the day, we all know from common sense alone, even people in the movies understand that these big, strong guys in their movie scenes, they try to outmaneuver other guys, even if they're smaller than them on the battlefield. You'll see Rock in The Scorpion King, for example. Is he relying on brute force or is he outmaneuvering people? So really they wouldn't have a chance against me because I've been trained, to outmaneuver them. I'm naturally gifted more than pretty much all of them. And it's like, I'm not trying to knock that. The closest thing to warrior culture in America is prison gang culture. But even that has a lot of gender feminist politics. You'll see a lot of these former prisoners, whoever they may be, talking about gay rights and trying, and there's a lot of gays in prison and they write books with gay people, whoever they may be. And, it's just, this is not the place for martial arts. America is not the place. If you care about how you look, if you care about money, if you are conformist, this is the place for you. If you're a sissy, if you're a godless heathen, if you're a bearded lady, baby killing, hypocritical feminist, you know, if you're a satanic dog and Aleister Crowley type trash, you know, if you're a racist eugenicist, if you're a white collar criminal, you know, this is the place for you. But if you are a traditional warrior who understands ritual, ceremonial ground, such as, you know, the Pyramid Temple, you know, a warrior's training ground, a Shaolin Temple, if you understand these things, you're not going to want to be here, because it's all tainted. There's queers and little sissies training in places that are supposed to be designated for warriors. And, you know, I'm saying like this, you know, I know I have fond memories of training in some of these places, but I know the difference at the same time. I wish them the best. My former dojos, for example, I wish them the best. I hope their business do well, but, you know, I know the difference. In fact, my first martial art teacher, I'm not going to tell you which one it was, because I don't want to highlight that right now. He told me flat out, if you want to train to be a warrior, this is not the place for you. You know, flat out. You know, so this is, we kind of have fun here, and, you know, and so on and so forth. I mean, some of them, they know that. They admit that. You know, the bottom line is, you know, when it comes to real martial arts training, with all due respect, you know, not some kind of secret society version of it, not some Eurocentric perspective, you know, version of it, you know, but real martial arts training. All jokes aside, all racism aside, this video is not even meant to be funny. You know, all seriousness. I mean, you're really looking at an African-styled martial arts, Africans, you know, Afro-Latina or Afro-Hispanic, you know, South American islands, you know, and you're looking at Asian martial arts, you know, and maybe some of the islands and maybe places like New Zealand and so on. You're looking at these kind of places. Everything else these days, the modern times, like a long time ago, yeah, in Europe there was some serious warrior training going on in other places of the world. But nowadays, shit, you're looking at the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and places where islanders and Brazilians and these type of people, and that's it. You know, besides that, the world has discarded warriors. And don't be mad at me. And some of you are going to take offense. Oh, just because I'm white doesn't mean I know. You know, don't be mad at me about it. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm part white, okay? It disgusts me a million times worse than it disgusts you. A bunch of sissies have taken over culture and social fucking norms, and believe me, you know, it's disgusting to me. You know, I'm a relative of Daniel Boone, you know, and this country has gone fucking downhill ever since these sorts of things. So, you know, it disgusts me. You know, I really don't want to talk about it. You know, a bunch of gays have taken over, and, you know, and there were some people in the church that saw what was going on. They said, you know what, we have to put our foot down about this homosexuality thing. I mean, they were even executing people for the crime of sodomy, you know, but what happened when we stopped doing that? You know, all the most righteous people started suffering when we stopped going after the spiritual bottom feeders. When we stopped showing the world that atheists are godless scum, materialistic bastards, the world started suffering. When we stopped showing the world that witches and this feminazi family breaking trash, you know, need to be addressed, you know, the family was broken down. When we stopped showing the world a bunch of sissy, LGBT sissies are abominations, you know, it's the warrior culture faded away, a bunch of sissies took over. You know, when we stopped showing the world that, you know, this sneaky criminality trash needs to be addressed with duels, you know, dueling, you know, Hamilton and the other guy and so on, you know, I believe it was Hamilton anyway. When we stopped addressing satanic garbage, when we stopped addressing the problems that face society, you know, the spiritual bottom feeders, they took over and they ruined everything. And to this day, even right now, they're crying about their rights. You know, the rights to destroy everything. You know, I'm going to tell you this, you know, the white nationalists are right about the spiritual bottom feeders, and they will destroy society. They don't stress the racism part, because some of them aren't racist and they don't want to be confused with racism, with being racist, and some of them are racist and they don't want to be, that have that highlighted. Okay, I'm almost out of time here. They're right about this attack on their culture. And you know what happened? It's already happening. It's already happened for the most part. Warrior culture is gone. There's a bunch of sissies in America. There's a bunch of sissies in Europe. There's no warrior training facilities anywhere in this motherfucker. And I had to train my fucking self. But I'm out of time. Thank you.